What's tougher, stiff-arming a linebacker or a shark?
I'm a lot more scared in the water. There's something about the mild comfort of being on a ship that disappears quickly when you're under the water and the sound goes away. And the expert you thought was over your shoulder, ready to help you, is holding a GoPro. And you realize it's just you and an 11-foot wild predator. Luckily, I got out.
What was the reaction from the coaches when you got in yesterday?
When what?
What was the reaction from your coaches when you got in yesterday? Did they say anything about it?
About that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think I got my profile kind of went up a little bit in the locker room. Guys maybe respect me a little bit more. That's to be expected. It's a big shark.
What are your feelings about getting the deal done before that first game?
I don't know if there's a timetable. It's the feelings haven't changed. You know, I'd obviously love to be here, and I think they've spoken at length about wanting to, extend my deal. But now that I'm here, my focus is definitely in other places. It's on my teammates, my leadership role, and my performance on the field. And that's why I got Dave Dunn to take care of all that stuff.
Would it have been easier, Aaron, though, to have gotten it out of the way before any football activity started?
Not really, Rob. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff you guys have either written or that's been written about it, and I talk with my agent daily, so I'm aware of the conversations. But, I'm really not too worried about it. I'm, just reading the stuff that Mark has said and Brian and Mike have said. I think there's mutual, like I said, there's more than mutual interest on both sides.
Aaron, would talks halt once the season begins if you table till an off-season period?
I mean, I'm not talking with him. Dave's talking with him, so...
would he halt conversations if the season begins?
I mean, I don't know. That's a big what if, and we still have plenty of time before that.
Julio Jones threatened to hold out, and he got a new deal. Was there any thought at all, even for a second, to maybe kind of ratchet up the pressure here on trying to get something done?
I don't really operate like that. I have 2 years left on my deal. They're obviously more than willing to talk about an extension, so there wasn't any animosity on either side.
Is that going to keep these conversations going because you have 2 left? There's not a lot of extreme pressure on the organization to extend right now?
Well, I think they've talked about it enough that there's an expectation that something would have been done. Obviously, judging by the questions here, there's kind of an expectation something would have been done before we started. But, I'm just trusting Dave, and that's why he represents me, because he has my best interest in mind. And, they're taking care of those conversations, and I'm focused on this team and being a leader.
As a guy who's been there and done that with training camp, what is your goal as you navigate this first week, as some of the younger guys get acclimated to what training camp is? What's your goal?
Well, it's stuff like today. You have to have some side conversations with guys and pull guys aside and young guys and talk to them about expectations. The coaches did a great job yesterday of kind of setting the framework. All of them talked, the coordinators and Mike, about really expectations for the young guys and their play and how to conduct themselves, how to be professional. And it's just reminders, a lot of it's just, hey, watch the guy in your position group. You watch how Randall Cobb practices, watch how Devontae Adams practices, watch how Geronimo Allison practices, watch how the older tight ends are practicing. That's what it looks like, and that's why those guys have stuck around the league and are getting multiple contracts and opportunities and accruing a lot of years in this league. That's just, it's tough to stick around in. So those guys need reminders. Today is, the first 2 days are introductory days as far as what it looks like when it amps up, because I said this in the spring, it's a different tempo when you get to training camp. It'll be a different tempo when we put the pads on. So it'll be exciting to see all the competitions shake out.
What did you think of Kevin King today? He got you on one interception. But
that was an interception.
Simultaneous catch?
Who came out with the ball?
Are we going back to Seattle?
That wasn't even close. I mean, that's a terrible reference. One is one guy has one hand on the ball, and the other guy's got it on his chest. Go back and look at the tape. Who had the ball on their chest when both guys hit the ground? Silly question. But how did Kevin do? Kevin made a couple plays, but I mean, that was completion. So, yeah, we completed some balls today.
What do you think of your early chemistry with Jimmy Graham?
Well, we just need more reps. You know, he's a big target. He catches the ball with his hands. You know, we haven't had a guy like that around here in a while. Obviously, Jared did a lot of those things. But Jimmy, you know, he's got a great feel for zone coverages and getting open and uses his body really well and runs good routes, and he's a matchup issue. You know, we haven't had a consistent matchup issue guy like that for a long time. So we just need reps together. He needs to hear the language. He needs to hear some of the code words and the verbiage and the signals, and I'm not worried about any chemistry issues with him.
Eric, can you sense greater speed in the defensive backfield? I know there's no pads on yet and maybe some limited opportunities, but do you sense that?
Well, it's a different mindset. You know, that's what was talked about a lot yesterday. Coach Pettin got up in front of the squad and gave, you know, I don't want to beef it up too much, but it was a near all-timer. I've been around here for 14 years, and that was a really good talk to the team. So as an offensive player, to hear a defensive coordinator get up there and talk about defense the way that he did and goals and mindset, that's pretty impressive, and that gives you a lot of hope.
So you're not worried about your contract. When I use the word worried with this question, I don't mean worried like fretting, but what are you like concerned with or focused on, or what is kind of top of mind for you since the contract clearly isn't? What do you, as you go into camp, what's on your mind, or what are you focused on?
Well, first I had to talk to Matt Klein because he put me on a twin bed with a little TV in my dorm room. So we got to get that figured out. You know, I've been in the same room for about 8 years. You'd think it'd be the same type of setup. But my focus is the same. You know, it's looking for those conversations, trying to foster some team chemistry when I can and when it's necessary, and you know, be a leader in the quarterback room, be a leader in the offensive meeting rooms, and bring that energy and enthusiasm to practice. Because you know, as we know, the practice can go as the quarterback goes and the energy goes from the quarterback position. So you know, it's just teaching and fostering conversation and communication between every level of the football team, and then you know, playing as well as I can.
You have a sense from other players in the league that once your agreement is done, that sets the bar for the rest of the league. Do you have any sense about that this agreement could open new opportunities for players across the board, or are you just focused on what works for you and the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. My contract, you know, is all about me and my tenure here. But as we know, this league is about comparison to other contracts, and that's often how the negotiations go when I'm gone. And when I signed my last deal, you know, there was an amount of time before it got passed up, and then it did, and then, you know, that's the next bar for those contracts. So, you know, it's just the way it goes. Again, I'm not, you know, it's important to me, but my focus is on this team and training camp, and that's why, like I've said, you know, Dave is handling those conversations. It is important to me. I'd love to have some sort of agreement that's going to extend me here, but I understand it's a business, and you know, I'm letting Dave handle those conversations.
Is it feasible to get a deal that actually does that and keeps up as the prices go up, or do you just have to live with 3 years down the road guys are going to pass you up?
That's an interesting way of putting it, because living with that type of money is very, you know, it's a privilege. You feel blessed when you sign those type of deals. You're very fortunate. So I don't look at it ever as like that I'm living with, you know, setting a bar that's getting passed up, and you know, I don't look at it like that. I feel fortunate to play this game. I get paid really, really well, and the team has invested a lot of money in me and trust in me, and I got to repay that by good play and represent the team the right way. And because of a lot of things that have happened positively during my time here, it seems like, you know, I'll have a chance to continue on at some point.
Mike this morning said that Brian could most likely play week 1. What would it mean for you and this line to have him together or have that group together week 1?
That'd be great. I mean, I know he's probably chomping at the bit to be out there, but you know, they're being smart because he's had, you know, a couple of these now. But yeah, you know, Brian's a great player. He's been a great player for a long time. The biggest thing for him is, you know, just some unfortunate injuries he's suffered, but he's battled back and he looks great, and hopefully he can get out there pretty soon.
How do you pace yourself at this point of your career?
That's a good question. You know, I think it's mentally, it's a grind. The physical part is not what it used to be, and I'm that 14-year guy who likes to talk about, you know, back in the old days, you know. But if you look at the way the schedule is, you know, it used to be different. You know, it used to be 2-a-days, and then they went to 2-a-day, and then 1-a-day, alternating. The physical output was a lot more difficult back then. Now it's the mental focus, you know, to sit in the meetings for those kind of hours and still be an active participant. That's kind of where I gauge my my pacing myself, is making sure that I can still be focused and take good notes and lead by example in those type of rooms, because that really is our biggest strain at this point, the way training camp is structured.
Aaron, it looks like Justin is going to try to lock down that right guard spot. What do you think of his game and what you've seen of him over these year and a half?
Well, I got to say I'm really proud of him. The way that he's stepped up. He's played a number of different positions. We've worked him at I think all 5 positions at different points, whether starting in a game or playing in a game or in practice. That's a testament to him and his approach. He's done a really good job for us. But I like the depth that we've gotten. You know, people can forget about a guy like Kyle Murphy, who stepped in last year and was playing tackle for us when, you know, nobody expected him to be out there when we had some injuries at our tackles with Dave and Brian, and battled and played really well. Jason Spriggs as well, you know, had some stretches we started playing really well, then he got hurt. Dylan Day, bringing him in, brings some stability as a backup center, but Lucas Patrick has played the 3 interior positions for us and done really well. So I think you look at that group, and as opposed to years past when we're often plugging in, you know, a lot of first and second year guys, you look over there now and you feel good about the depth that we're starting to put behind those guys.
Two more. Aaron, from the outside, you know, we all kind of say as long as they have Aaron Rodgers, they're a Super Bowl contender. This is probably the most change you've had with coordinators and GM and everything else since Mike Sherman got fired. What gives you confidence that you guys have that capability in you? I know you got to build your team, but with all the changes that have happened, do you have a different confidence or different feeling because of all the change?
There's definitely a different feeling, and again, a lot of it goes back to the conversations yesterday. We just haven't had those type of conversations in years, and I gotta say it's exciting. It is, and there's a different mindset. They talk about that word, so that's kind of why I'm using it, but there's a different mindset on that side of the ball. And I think an acquisition of a Tramon Williams and bringing Devon back to kind of have that veteran leadership in that room, and adding 2 studs, young kids, to go along with, you know, Kevin coming back from an injury. You know, I think that there's some guys that need to step up front to give us some depth, but I'm excited about that side of the ball, with the expectation that we kind of always have on offense that, you know, we're going to find our rhythm at some point during the season and be really tough to stop.